Hello and welcome to another video. In this one, I'm going to be doing a review roundup of a number of 2024 movies I did not have a chance to check out earlier this year when they were in theaters. A lot of movies have been dropping on streaming services for 2024 since they've been out for a while now. So there's a lot of them I've been able to be catching up on because I don't always have a chance to grab it physically, but I do have a lot of the streaming services, so I got to check a number of them out, and I wanted to share my thoughts and reviews on them. So I have 8 movies I'm going to review in this video as quickly as we can, but I want to give each one a kind of shout out as far as which ones I've enjoyed the most. So let's get ready, let's jump in. Now, this is not every movie from 2024 that I've not seen. I have done a number of reviews for 2024 movies, but these are the ones I've caught up with over the past several weeks. Kicking things off with Monkey Man. This was Dev Patel's directorial debut, and he absolutely crushes it in the directorial role. The movie boasts fantastic action, a unique and interesting story, and another great performance from Dev Patel as well. Now, though initially I thought this might be a bit of a John Wick clone, the movie really puts itself in its own lane and is worth checking out. It goes in some weird directions at times, but it definitely stuck the landing for me. I gave this movie an 8 out of 10. Next, we have the movie Lisa Frankenstein. This is one of the weirdest and most fun movies I've seen in a while. It's a good genre bender with romance, comedy, horror, just a little bit of each of those genres in there. And it's a cool spin on the classic tale of Frankenstein. It's heavily practical with its sets and locations. It has some really cool music drops throughout, and there were many laugh out loud moments, at least for me and my sense of humor. It's another solid directorial debut, this time for Zelda Williams, Robin Williams' daughter. I gave this movie a 7 out of 10. Next, we have Twisters, definitely the exciting, crowd-pleasing blockbuster of the year. This movie I thought works for both newcomers and fans of the original film. It's its own separate story, but the callbacks and feel is definitely there for fans of the original film. Now, while the tornado sequences in this movie were thrilling and fun, I didn't feel like they had the scary and frightening feel of the ones in the original movie. The characters were probably my favorite part of this one. There's enough depth from each to be rooting for them, and they all have good dynamics and chemistry with each other. While I did really enjoy this one, I still prefer the original. I gave a score for this one at a 7 out of 10. Next, we have the movie The Instigators, and maybe a little bit of a lesser known one. This is an Apple Original Plus TV show that came out, and I'm almost always down for a new Matt Damon flick, and I'm a really big fan of Casey Affleck as well, so the two of them together in a movie had my interest and attention. And this movie does have quite a bit of issues, but I still had a fun time with it overall. Most of the performances are good. The movie is well shot, well enough directed, but the story here is very lacking, I thought. There's little to no growth for the main characters or development really for each of them. So it's an easy watch, a decent heist movie, but I wanted a lot more from the story, so I gave this one a 6 out of 10. Next, we have Civil War, one of the most visceral movies I've seen in quite a while. It's a fictional but terrifying vision of a future America on the brink of civil war, following war journalists on their journey to the White House for an interview with the president before it is too late. Though this one has a little bit of a slow start, once that tension starts building, it's relentless, I thought. There are very strong, very, very good performances throughout, most notably from Kirsten Dunst, and for me, standout Kaylee Spaney. There's not a ton of action in this one, but it is brutal when it shows up. The whole final act and action sequence is the most edge of my seat I've felt in a long time. I did want just a little bit more from the story, and aside from that and the slow start, it's a great movie that I absolutely recommend. It's a thought-provoking look at American society, government, and war. I gave this movie an 8 out of 10. Next, we have The Beekeeper. I went into this one expecting a fun B movie, but actually came out having a great time with it. It is pretty straightforward, but the world and the action is easily what makes this movie. It knows exactly what kind of movie it is and leans into that, making it as entertaining as possible. There's tons of thrilling and exciting fight and action sequences, and an ending that left me with a sting for more. I gave The Beekeeper an 8 out of 10. Nearing the end, next we have Night Swim. Now, this is actually one I was pretty excited about when I first initially saw the posters and the trailer for it back, I think, in January when this one came out, but you just never know what you're going to get in January. And unfortunately, this is about as bad as you could hope for. While the concept for this one, the setup for this one is really interesting and really intriguing, it's one of the biggest disappointments of the year for me. It's a cool concept, a cool setup, but the story and performances are so bad that it just ruined the whole movie for me. It had a lot of potential with some interesting lore, and visually the movie looked really good, but that just unfortunately was not enough to save it. I gave this movie a 3 out of 10. And then finally, for now, we have Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I actually literally just finished watching this movie like 10 minutes ago, so I'm coming off of it a little fresh, but I really thought it was great. I thought it was a good continuation of the story and the legacy of the previous films. The new characters that are introduced in Noah and May, they were really interesting. I was on board with their journeys from the get-go. There was some really great performances throughout. The special effects in this movie still continue to absolutely blow my mind with how incredible they look. It was a really good story. I still am a little partial to the original 3. I don't think the story's quite to the level where Rise, Dawn, and War got, but I will let it take some time to get there. It was definitely a valiant continuation of the story, one that I look forward to seeing continued, especially after that ending we got that really left a lot of open-endedness to it. So this movie is another great one, another good continuation of the story for me. I gave it an 8 out of 10.